Hi everybody, today is a special day. I'm really excited. We've reached 100 subscribers. It may not be many by the grand scheme of things, but I'm really proud. So thank you all for your support. Today, to celebrate that, I wanted to teach a trick I came up with or figured out a couple of years ago now. I think you can actually buy this trick commercially from magic shops, but I just came up with it. I'm pretty sure it's the same trick you can buy. So I can show you how to make it. It's the card through Sharpie. Sharpie through card. I put it out on Instagram quite a while ago and it got some really good feedback. I've been saving it as a bit of a celebration because it's quite complex to make. It takes quite a while, but it has a really good effect and really just throws people when they see it in person. So we're going to go over the shoulder. I'm going to show you everything you need to make it, show you how to make it and how to perform it. Again, thank you to those who've subscribed. Thank you for your support. Let's keep going. And if we can get to 500, I'll start doing some giveaways. So watch along, enjoy the clip in a moment and see the trick. And then when it comes back, we'll be over the shoulder. So check it out. Watch. Covering myself in pen. Okay, so the magic trick, how's it done? It all hinges on a gimmick. A gimmick is a prop, if you like. And it's a trick card with a flap. It looks like this I came up with. And so you'll notice I've got all my craft gear out. I've got glue and knives and pencils and things because you make this yourself. So how do you do it? Well, the key is double back cards. You can buy them. I buy decks of them at a time. I use them in quite a lot of cool effects. It's useful to have some around for a few things. eBay, double back bicycle deck, type that in. Or Amazon, or your good magic shops. If you've got a local one, support your local businesses. And what you will need, you're going to want a deck of these because you're going to make mistakes the first couple. And I would get whichever ones match your standard deck of cards. Okay. So to make this template, obviously you need at least 2. Now I haven't made one of these in a long while because once you've made it, you'll get a lot of performances out of it. Now, normally I would do all the crafting, the drawing on it with a pencil because then you can rub it out. What I will probably do is I'll do it in pencil to show how I do it, but then I'll go over it in Sharpie so you can see it because I can appreciate otherwise you're not going to be able to really tell what's going on. So the first thing you need to do is you need to get a craft knife, some glue. I use contact adhesive. You don't want super glue, it dries too quick. You want a little bit of maneuverability and subtlety to it. Okay, now if you are one of my younger viewers, please get help making this. It is quite fiddly with a sharp knife, so please get help. You can use a craft knife or a Stanley, but they're very sharp because you're gonna need a cutting board. So the first step is to make your hole for the pen to go through on one card. And then what I would say is if you've got a stack of these, once you've made one, you can make a template and then you can line it up and make spares. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a Sharpie and you're going to want it really about here, the hole, okay, because you don't want it anywhere where it's going to be really obvious. You want it somewhere where you can actually put your thumb over it if you need to. So about here, where the cherubs, if you're using these cards, is sort of this area. And you're going to essentially, you can take a lid and work out. Now you want the hole to be fairly tight because otherwise the pen will just drop through. Okay, so I'm going to choose where I want it. I'm going to draw a circle. And this is going to be my template. Now you probably can't see that. So what I will do for the sake of the tutorial is I will do the circle again in Sharpie so you can see what I'm cutting out. Okay, now that's actually a touch higher than I'd like. I haven't lined it up very well, so I'm going to start again. So I want it underneath, really, just underneath there. And it's quite hard to do without getting my head in the way. I came up with this one Sunday evening when I was bored. Don't worry if it's not quite big enough, because I'll show you why. So you get a craft knife and you cut it out. This is obviously covered in Sharpie now, so it won't be any good for performance, but it doesn't really matter that much. You can see it goes through. You've got a chopping board. This is my craft board for when I'm building those Warhammer minis and things. You get that. Go ahead and pop it out. Probably looks a bit rubbish right now. Don't worry about it. Because first off, I need to decide, does it fit? I'd rather it was too small and I had to enlarge it. It's way too small. I find it easier with one of these. It's easier to hold. So now I'm going to take a bit of time to expand it. So I haven't quite followed my circle. And get that cut out. Am I still in shot? Cool. Appreciate you seeing a lot of the back of my head. But hopefully you can follow along. So get that bit out. Now this one is going to be a little rough because once you've made one, you can use it. What you do is once you've made one good one and you've got a template, if you like, you can put it over the other cards and straight away just start drawing through the hole. And that's how I then would normally do it, but I'm showing you the whole process. So normally I'll just get that on there, cut it out, make a hole. Okay. Then again, come back. Is that fitting? Give it a little push. It's a little firm. See, a few bits have kind of kicked up. So I'm just going to trim those kicked off bits out. Tidy it up a little bit. It'll probably be quite a long video, to be honest. And get about there. So do a little small. See, it's teared a little bit, so I wouldn't use this now for performance. This would be my template one. Or if it goes wrong, you just start again. That's why you buy these in a deck. As I said, you can buy this as a finished product, but it's kind of more fun and more satisfying to make them yourself because, well, you've crafted it then. And I thought, so there we go. You want it a fairly snug fit. Then what you do is you get another double back. And you put it on top. Doesn't matter which way. Oh, it's not a double back, it's a single back. Ha! I took from the wrong deck. Beep. Redo. Anyway, doesn't matter hugely. This is now my template. Okay. Right, so I've got a template card. You're going to want this. It comes in handy. So then what I do is I put it on to, I draw a circle. Now the reason you want a template is because it needs to line up. So you need it in the same place each time. Now, one of these I'm going to cut a hole in. I'm just going to pause it and do that. Right, we're back. I've got a double back with a hole in it. I've got a double back with a perfectly, hopefully lined up circle on it. Now I've come back. I've had to cut this one out, so I'm going to just expand that hole a little bit. But I'm not going to cut a hole in this one. I'm going to cut a flap. So you're going to want a rubber. What you need to do is make, where's the finished one? A flap big enough to go through that overreaches your hole. So if you've got a complete one, you can get an idea for size. So you're going to want to get a ruler if you've got one. Mine seems to have vanished. Where is my ruler? I'll make a flap. Now, it doesn't want to be huge, but it needs to be big enough that it fits the pen through. Now, I would personally line up the straight line with these lines here, okay? Because it will help hide it. So what I'll do is I'll go over it. You do it in pencil and then you rub it out. But for the sake of the video, my hole is something like that, all right? And you're going to cut those 3 lines. I'll pause. So I've cut it out and give it a bend to the base. So you've got like a little door. Get your other one. Now, you need to line them up like that. Notice this is why you use double backers, because you can't see anything through the hole. And you need to glue it. Now, what I would suggest is you put the glue on this one so you can make sure it avoids the flap. So you can put glue up and down. You need the flap to open outwards. All right? So I use contact adhesive, but you could use any reasonable household glue. As I said earlier, personally, I'd avoid super glue, so you get blob. That's come shooting out. Now, I like contact adhesive for this because it doesn't dry too quickly. That way, if I've made a mess, I can fix it. Now, if you've got anything you can spread the glue with, great. If not, a little bit of kitchen towel do the job. Now, if any goes like there on the flap, just clean it out. So you should have a little bit, and you need it around the whole card. Because you want it to be fairly seamless, okay? Apart from in the hole. Then you get the other card. Line it up. Push it together. Now you're going to get a bit of glue sometimes spurt out the edges. That's where, again, your paper towel or your tissue comes in. Then what you need to do with this is you need to place it under some heavy books for, I don't know, depends on the glue. Give it an hour so it presses together nicely. All right. If you're not sure about the hole, just give it a quick check. Run your finger in it. Does it feel gluey? No, great. And it should fit in the hole. So once you've done that, leave it to dry. So here's the one I used in performance. You've now got your gimmick once it's dry. Now that's why I said you want a template, because making these is obviously quite time consuming from scratch, as you've just experienced. So if you've got a template, then you just get your double backs and you just keep churning out sets of 2, cut your hole, cut your flap, stick it together, and you can make 3 or 4 of these really quickly once you've got a template, especially if it's a good template. That one's a good one. So once you've got your deck, what do you do? To perform the trick is very, very easy. So I'm just going to show you it at this angle, to be honest. Put it on top of the deck. Okay. Flap up. Now make sure the flap's in so it's hard to see. Now, if you're performing this for camera, you can do it that way around, flap pointing out. If you're doing it for people, flap pointing in. because then you can cover it with your thumb. You can show the deck. You can then show the deck as I did on the camera. You have a card selected, however way you like. You place it on top. Now, if you're doing this for a spectator, you can go, look, here you go. Turn it, sign the card for me. Draw a face on it for me, anything you like. I did it for the camera, so I didn't need to do that. I just held it up, drew on it, showed it. Okay? But you need the hole to do the trick pointing in that direction. So if you're doing it for a person, when you pass them the deck, you can go, there you go. You can turn it in midair for them. You just be like, you want to sign the deck? There you go. Put it, turn it in the hand. And when it comes back, you know it's set. Okay, on camera, I didn't need to. I just did a quick get ready off shot. I went, whoop, let's get my finger under it. You got your finger under it. You turn it over. Now you got the hole pointing up. This is now where it's easy. Push forward, stick through. Now with a bit of practice, you can do it without looking, and you want to have the angles. The angle's the hardest part. If you're doing it for a person, you can do it quite low down, so they can't see that. They can't see the flat. They'll just be like, what? That's gone through. You'll be like, yeah, look, wee. For the camera, it's actually harder, which is unusual for a magic trick, because you can't risk them seeing the flap. So I had to really tip it. It took me about 5-6 takes to get a good clean one. But in person, as long as you keep your hands down here, it'll work every time. Then when you show it, you put the cards down, be like, yep, check it out. When you take the pen out, slide it back immediately. Put your thumb over the hole. Then turn over 2 cards. Now this is very thick, so your standard kind of double moves aren't going to work as easily. If in doubt, when like this, if you're doing it for a person, when you're showing, they go, what? Do a get ready. You shove one off, get your break under it. As it comes back, you've got your double. Again, easier in person actually than on camera. Turn, show, cover. Yeah, cover the trick card. Done. Now, if you've got one of those kind of groups where they want to inspect the deck, you're going to need to palm that off. It's very thick though, so it's not easy. You're better off if you can. Well, sure, I'll show you the deck. Do it that way. Cop the card. If you don't know what a cop is, let me know in the comment section if you want me to do a talk on Gambler's Cop. And then you can just pass it out. So there you have it. The Sharpie or the pen through card. One of my kind of cooler moments. So I'm pretty sure you can buy the same trick, but I came up with this one Sunday evening. And once you got that, you just make a few spares. You can keep it in your in your magic case if you've got one, or you keep it in your phone case, anything like that. Just make sure you rub out the lines and things afterwards. Be careful with the glue, be careful with the knife, and practice in front of a mirror a few times to see your angles so nobody sees the little flap, because that's what will give you away. There you have it. Thank you to all my subscribers. Share this video. Let's go viral. Let's reach for 500. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.